Well, hello, Gelser National Area. I am so excited. Hold on. I'm so excited. Here we go. To be coming at you today on the first Tuesday of October. Happy October 3rd to everybody. Wow. I'm so excited to be in your space, you guys. Thank you for all your prayers for Christopher's family and my family as we had the funeral of his grandfather yesterday. And then today we're going to the committal. And just rejoicing that Grandpa is in heaven with Chris's grandma, as you know, who was taken to heaven 2 weeks ago. And just loving this business, you guys. I mean, I was not able to go to our moving up night last night. And I just heard from Kim Ferguson that Tammy Clout, Kate Unger, and Becky Clements, oh my goodness, you guys rocked it. That it was a small crowd, but it was mighty. And Kim recorded you guys, and I can't wait to get that recording out to everybody. But you guys, that's what leadership is. You know, you guys don't need a national sales director. You are all amazing leaders in your own right. And I'm just blessed that God allows me to be in your space. Seriously. Just so proud of each and every one of you. And I'm not going to give the monthly recognition right now because I want the most time for Julia. And plus, there are still orders on hold. And so the month has not been closed out yet. Okay. So later on, maybe not today because of the committal and the family commitments that I have, but tomorrow I will get out a Voxer message, and then I'm also going to do a Facebook Live message for the entire national area for all of the amazing promotions that Mary Kay has. I do want you to know, I have a question. Who is excited about the 4 qualifieds or more, and you get 20,000 more retail for your unit clubs? You guys, that is going to boost some of you to be on target for double and triple star. So be excited about that. Plus the $400 bonus and more that you get for that. Plus, you know, I always give away a bracelet. And I think we're running this again because I don't think anybody earned it last month with the 4 qualifieds. And we have National Sales Director Tammy Craig, who will do a personal coaching call with whoever has the most qualifieds over 4. So you guys, this is the month that you are totally going to focus on two things, right? As Barbara Sundin says, who's my next personal? Who's my next DIQ, right? Because of the all in with 8. And that's what we're so excited about hearing from Julia today, as she is our final speaker in our series of preparing people for leadership. And I couldn't think of anyone better. And who's excited that Julia is going to be with us at our Wisconsin retreat? I just got a message from Kim that we are at 195. At the end of today, we'll be at about 200 people registered for retreat. Oh my goodness. So exciting. Okay, so here is your recognition for the week. And then I'm going to turn it over to, Senior National Sales Director Julia Burnett. So personal parties held over 3. Remember, because it's 3 plus 3 plus 3. Congratulations to Trisha Bless with 4 personal parties. I don't think she's watching this live because she's on the beaches of Florida right now. I'm taking a little vacation. This is so exciting. With personal faces seen over 5. Congratulations to Jamie Lopez and Becky Clements, who had 6. Tracy and Karis, who had 7, and Trisha with 14. New bookings from last week, and 5 is the magic number because a booking a day keeps the blues away. Congratulations to Karis with 5 new bookings, and holy cow, Trisha Bless with 10. She is on a mission, sisters. She is on a mission. With over $500 in personal sales, Becky Clements was 603, Tracy Henke with 700, Crystal Pounds with 720, and Trisha Bless with 1337 in personal sales. Seriously. Personal career chats over 3. Jamie Riley had 3. Crystal Pounds had 4. Becky Clements had 7. And Trisha Bless had 8. Congratulations for personal new team members. Crystal Pounds had 1. And 4 new personal team members, Becky Clements. Woohoo! That is awesome. A silver medal last week. Unit faces over 7. Karis Foreman had 7. Becky Clements had 7. And Trisha Bless had 14. Unit interviews over 3. Becky had 3. And Trisha had 9. New unit members for last week. Trisha had 1. Amanda had 4 new unit members. Oh my goodness, that is so exciting. And Amanda, happy new marriage, you guys. She got married on September 30th. Always having your wedding anniversary on the last day of the month. I love it. And Becky Clements with 6 new unit members. Wow, wow, wow. And parties booked for this week. You guys, 5 is the magic number. 5 parties, because when you book 5 by 5 on Friday, you will hold the 2 to 3 parties that you want. So nobody has 5 parties booked for this week, but it is not too late. Okay, so now I get the privilege and honor of introducing my friend. I don't think I have her official accolades. We couldn't find those this morning. So if you sent them to me, Julia, I am so sorry. But I don't have them in front of me. So I'm just going to give you my Heidi Gelzer made up accolades. The accolades that I know about Julia is that she has earned top director trips. She has an Offspring National. Some of you may know her by the name of Leah Lachlan. Her senior national sales director is none other than the epic leader, Pam Shaw. She comes from a legacy and continues the legacy of excellence in Mary Kay. She was a self-proclaimed hippie before she started her Mary Kay business. He is married to Seth, an engineer who's not only smart and gorgeous, but also kind as well. They have 3 beautiful children raised together in this Mary Kay business. Julia has earned top director trips and national sales director trips around the world. She became a national sales director on July 1st, 2012. And you guys, her area has been in the diamond circle, the diamond circle every single year that they have been a national area. Wow, wow, wow. We are so excited that they're in the diamond seminar now along with us. And you saw her in her area. Are you kidding me? Being recognized as the #4 area in the entire diamond seminar. That was so exciting. Oh my goodness. And top 3 in inner circle and beyond, here they come. And her highest paycheck in 1 month has been well over $30,000. I know that because that is my next goal, is to have a paycheck as high as Julia's at over $30,000. And she must think that I'm a stalker, that I know all this about her. But I actually know all this about her because I love her. She is one of my greatest gifts that I got from becoming a national sales director, because we did not know each other before this. And God bless me that we got to be in the same debuting class together. And so spent a lot of time together as new nationals our first year, and have just created a bond. She's one of the people that I respect the most in this business, that I can bare my soul to and know that she will understand me and love me not only as a national sister, but as a Christian sister. And so my friends, I can think of no other person I would rather hear from this morning than my friend and yours, Senior National Sales Director, Julia Burnett. Woo!
Heidi, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Hey, I'll take those accolades any day over my official accolades. So can you guys see me? Hi. I'm big now. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, welcome. I apologize. I'm a little bit hoarse today. I'm going to India at the end of the month on a mission trip, and so I got a big old typhoid shot in one arm and a big old hepatitis A shot in the other arm, so I'm like feeling it today. I slept great last night. Anyway, listen, I want you all to know how much I love and respect your national sales director. She's one of my all-time favorite people on planet Earth, and she's impossible to say no to. Heidi, I will always say yes to you. I would walk all the way to Wisconsin for you in the snow. I love you so much. So thank you again for asking. And I can't wait to be with you guys in just, 2 weeks. That's kind of hard to believe. So Heidi asked me to speak today a little bit about, now with this whole DIQ promotion, she asked me to speak about, moving people up the career path. And Karis and myself, Karis earned a coaching call from me a few weeks ago. And one of the things we talked about when we talked together was about, do you have a system for moving people up? And I told her that, moving people up is both an art and it's also a science. And so it's both of those things. It's like velvet and steel, and so, and I'm a Libra, so I'm all about doing both and the balance of that. And so I want to start off with a quote from Jim Rohn, and he says that the best beginning for any successful venture is reality. Okay, it's reality. The best beginning is the reality. Let's not wish it were different. Like, let's not wish reality was different or easier. Wish you were better. Okay, let me read that again. The best beginning for any successful venture is reality. Let's not wish it were different or easier. Wish that you were better. Okay, and part of being better is being discerning, and God gave each of you a discernment gene. Okay, and I believe a lot of moving people up is praying for wisdom and asking for discernment of where you should invest your time. We know the 80-20 rule, right? That 80% of the people do 20% of the results, and 20% of the people make 80% of the results. And so in your unit, you've got 80%, you've got the 20%, but guess who wants most of your attention? The wrong percentage, okay? The 80%, the bulk of your unit, want most of your time, okay? And you just got to learn as a leader to resist that. You've got to give 80% of your time to the 20%. Okay, so the bulk of your time goes to your leaders. And so when you have a unit, you often want to spend equal time with everyone, but there's only one of you. And that leadership principle is just a universal law as a leader, that you're not even supposed to spend equal time with everyone until they've proven it. Okay, the Bible is full of all kinds of examples of this. Jesus and his disciples, Jesus didn't spend equal time with everybody, right? Moses and the tribal leaders. There's example after example that a leader is called to invest in a smaller group of people. And so you want to give the 20%, the top 20%, your individual time, and the 80% of your unit group time, okay? And so I want to talk about that, the top tier of your people. And really, when we're talking about raising up leaders and DIQs, that's not even the top 20%. That's the top 20% of the top 20%, okay? It's like, maybe 3 people out of a unit of 100, okay? And so I want to talk about coaching calls with the top percent. Now, you can set up formal coaching calls, okay? And you can set them up like a regular time to talk. And I think that the times that make sense to blanket and say, hey, everybody, I'm setting up coaching calls for everyone who wants one, would be at times when it makes sense, like in the new year in January, or the new Mary Kay year in July, or if you've just left a big event, like maybe after Fall Advance, or maybe after, career conference, where you say, hey, everybody who wants to set up a time with me, that's fine. Or if someone wants to get restarted in their business again, that's fine. But for the most part, my coaching calls are not formal structured times. For me, at least, they're more informal. Now, some of you all like structure. I like structure a lot. But for coaching calls, for me, it's always been a little more informal. And part of that is, I'm a feeler, and I love to, pray to God, just, show me who it is to invest my time in. And I kind of, go off that a lot. But when I say informal, it's me like just touching base with her, and setting up a time to talk, because I know she's got a big week coming up, and I want to make sure, how the week is set up. And I want to really encourage you as leaders to trust your gut instinct, okay? It's really why your quiet time is so important, because it helps you to pay attention to the spirit, so you can hone in on who to really reach out to. Okay, I do feel like that directors waste a lot of time talking or setting up these formal coaching calls that they then become trapped into, that they can't, really, they don't know how to end it. They don't know how to get out of it. Okay, and so we'll talk about that in a little bit. And for many directors, especially those with a smaller unit size, if we would just go out and work our personal business, you may find some actual people to coach, okay? The problem, I think, is that most directors aren't busy enough with their personal business. I think Becky Clements said, pretending to work, right? Becky, was that you that said that? Most directors aren't busy enough with their personal business. They just have extra time to fill it up with talking to consultants who aren't really doing anything, okay? So the key here is to be busy with your personal business, so much so that you don't have time to think about who's not working, or who didn't return your phone calls, or who you're irritated with because they didn't follow through, okay? Honestly, when you're working and you're so busy, you don't even have, pay attention, okay? Because you're so busy working, you don't pay attention to who didn't call you back. It's not even on your radar, because you're just doing your thing, okay? So let me dig into the mechanics of the art and the science, okay? So I'm gonna start off with the science. And I first of all want to say, this is my system. And as a leader, I want to encourage you that if what you're doing is working, and don't change anything, okay? This is just my system. This might be too much for some of you. This may feel micromanage-ish for some of you. But for me, this is what I've always done, and it's worked really well for me, okay? So the first thing that happens in the science of the system of moving people up is a key person. Well, actually, everyone in my unit, they turn in their bookings to me at the beginning of the month. We say book 5, book 10, book 20. It's a number of group bookings that she has booked for the entire month. So the whole month of October, for example, she would turn them in by the 5th of the month from what she would have booked from October 1st through October 31st. Okay, so she turns them into me. And then I would plug those dates into my calendar, or I'd have my assistant plug them into my calendar. So literally, I pull up my phone calendar, and I can see all the dates that have been turned into me in my unit of what people have on their date book. Okay, that's point number 2. I plug the dates into my calendar. Point number 3 is I would let her know the times that I'm available to do career chats. Okay. Oftentimes I would pre-look ahead, and I'd have kind of like office hours, so to speak, and I would have a Google Calendar, and I would share that with my unit. These are the times I'm typically available to book career chats. Okay. Now, if she's in DIQ, she's probably mostly doing hers, but these are for people who I'm trying to move up the career path. Okay. Point number 4 is at the beginning of each week, I would assign a day in my calendar. For me, usually Mondays was my day, and I would plug into my calendar a recurring appointment to check in with my key people or check in with my Ready Right Now. So every Monday was like my day to initiate with my key people. Okay. And sometimes that was a live phone call, and sometimes it was me just reaching out to her in Boxer. Okay. But part of the purpose of me boxering her or texting her saying, hey, can you talk real quick, just jump on the phone for a few minutes, is asking her about her past week. Like, how did your past week go? How did your appointments, let's say over the weekend, go? Does she feel good about the future appointments that are on her date book for the upcoming week? Are they coached? Does she have guest lists? Who is she excited about? Who is she bringing to our Thursday guest event or our Thursday weekly success event? So it was more of me like just going over her past week, looking ahead to the future week, and just kind of asking her how she's feeling about it and what her next steps are, just to kind of ensure that they're coached and she has a guest list, and kind of just help prevent. I found a lot of leading people in a successful way has to do with prevention, where you're trying to prevent failure, essentially, or prevent things from falling through. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt and just kind of inspecting what I feel like maybe she wants to do, and just letting her, share that with me and offering her feedback. Okay. Now, here's one of the key things that I did that worked really well. It was this. I would tell my key people after every single appointment that she does, that before she gets in her car and turns on the radio, or gets in her car and starts getting on her phone, or before she pulls into her driveway after she's left an appointment, is to text me, not box, but text me the hard numbers. The hard numbers I want to know are the number of faces you just did, the amount you sold, how many future bookings did you get, how many career chats did you set up, how many referrals, how many face models to meeting. So again, hard numbers, number of faces, amount you sold, future appointments, how many career chats, how many referrals did you get, how many face models. Okay. And then 2, soft skills. What's the one thing you did well that you're proud of? And then what's the one skill you want to intentionally work to improve before your next appointment? So what's the one thing you did well, you want to celebrate you did well, you're proud of? And what's the one skill that you want to work to improve for next time? I don't want her to box these to me. I don't want her to talk them. I want her to write them out. The reason I want her to write them out is because if I have to filter through a voice box and listen for these numbers, it's just going to take too long. I'm not going to be able to get back to her fast enough. And the other thing is, I like them written out, and I want them written out without excuse. And I tell her that without excuse. Like, I don't want it to be like, well, I had 5 things booked, but everything fell off the date book because blah, blah, blah. I don't want any excuses. I'm assuming that's already happening. I just want numbers. I want numbers without excuse. The reason I want her to text me her hard numbers is because it gives me the gate. It gives me the frequency with which she's working. And what I mean by that is, if I'm receiving a text message from her a couple times a week, it kind of stays in my face. Like, oh, Rachel's working. She's like working. She's doing a couple a week. Whereas some, quote, key people, they might text me 2 times a month. And for me, that's an indicator, I love her, but she's just not ready yet to have that type of intense back and forth. Does that make sense? And so the texting of the hard numbers gives me the gate of how much she's working and the frequency. And that's what I'm kind of looking for. Okay. The other reason I want it written out is because it helps me to compare notes. Like, the last couple of times she texted me her numbers, am I seeing large number of faces and low sales? Or am I seeing large numbers of future bookings and then very little faces? Okay, so it helps me to kind of catch, again, prevention is your friend. It helps me catch problems before we get too far down the road. All right. Okay, the point number 5 would be, I also track her prospects. I always had a binder. I like paper a lot. And just on nothing fancy, on a piece of paper. I have 1 piece of paper for each key person I'm working with. And I hope she's also tracking her prospects and keeping track of everyone that she's interviewed and what she liked about them and where they're at and all of that. But I keep my own binder. I don't leave anything to chance. I'm assuming she's tracking, but I'm also covering it and making sure I'm tracking the people that she's excited about. I have found numerous times where someone was moving 40 IQ, and so we're talking about, okay, who could, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what about so-and-so? What about so-and-so? And she'd be like, oh, yeah, her. And I found that, like, some of their confidence or their self-esteem isn't confident enough to go after a certain person, whereas I'd be like, talk to her. You know, I would be bringing up people that she didn't have the confidence to go to. She was going to low-hanging fruit, okay? And so it's important that you want to make sure that that you're keeping track of her people too, okay? And I have, like, I think I said that's a different page for every single person in my unit I'm working with. And again, it's nothing fancy. Okay, point number 6. Okay, this is big. Inspect what you expect. Okay, what does that mean? I want you to write down the phrase, name her. Name her, name her, name her. Okay, so what I mean by that is when I'm connecting with a key person that wants to move up, and let me just say this, y'all, you got to call her. I mean, I know I can box and check in on people, but like when this whole DIQ 8 and up thing came about, I didn't just box people. Sure, I mean, I did box like groups, but you want to make sure that you are also connecting with people one-on-one. So I physically called, like I phone called the people in my unit that I knew that they'd be excited about this. And we had a phone conversation. Like this could not have been accomplished through Voxer at all. And I went through her list. Now, the reason why I say name her, name her, name her. Okay, sometimes we go, so do you have people to call? Yeah, I got people to call. Okay, and we move on to the next thing. No, 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 it's not, do you have people to call? That's, I mean, yes, that's a question. But okay, who do you have to call? Okay, name her. Let's go through them. Can we go through them and talk about next steps? And so literally she's saying, okay, so Samantha. Okay, well, what's her next step? Well, I don't know. Well, how do you know Samantha? Well, I met her at a party. Okay, did she buy anything? Yeah, she bought a lip gloss. Okay, well, tell me a little bit more about her. Why is she on your list? Well, I really liked her. She was really, do you see what I'm saying? So you're actually like digging into who are these people? Why do you think that they're a prospect? Do you know what her next step is? Do you know what her next step is? Okay, what will you say to her? What will you say to her? I'm asking her, does she know where to take her next step with prospects, with face models, with hostesses? Do you need me to walk you through anything? Like I'm literally going through every single person and asking her what she would say. Does she need feedback on what to say? I have found 70% of my phone conversations with key people are what to say. I mean, most of it is, this is what I would say to her. And I would just, you know, give her a plan B or a plan C. So if she says this, then I would maybe, and she can't do it, then maybe your next option could be, maybe she could take a, you know, be an outside hostess for you or whatever. I'm always looking for the B and the C, and I'm kind of giving her the map of what to do with each person. Okay. You cannot, I think sometimes we make the mistake that they know what to do. They've got it. And I think sometimes they can act like they've got it, but they really, in the day, they don't have it lined out. And so even if they kind of know what to do, sometimes then breaking it down with you and having a definite, leave no bones about it plan is going to move them into action more than like, yeah, I got it. Okay. Okay. Point number 7 is I want to invite her to over communicate with me. So I have found sometimes people will think, well, Joy is so busy, I don't want to bug her. And I realize that that's like a little limiting belief that some people think of, like, I don't want to bug her. And I actually say it. If you ever think, I don't want to bug her, no, I want you to get that out of your head. That's my job. Like, that's part of what I want to do to support you. And I would explain it, and unless you use Voxer as your voice journal to me, it's going to be impossible for you to over communicate with me. Okay. Like, unless you're just leaving me like 15-minute Voxer messages, you know, you cannot over communicate with me. I want to hear it. And the deal is because I want her to be talking to me about the ups and the downs, and not like going off and talking to her mom or her husband and complaining, where they sympathetic they may be, but they don't have a framework to put it in. Whereas I actually am the person assigned to her success who can actually carry her through that. Okay, so I'm inviting her to over communicate with me, and I'm speaking out the lie that I'm too busy. Okay, I'm only incentivized that she is successful and she gets what she wants. And point number 8 is sharing your vision for her and what you see in her at the end of each interaction. Okay, I would tell her what you see in her. Why is she unique? What gift she has to share with the world? It can just be a one-liner like, you know, Rachel, you carry such a message in your heart that others need to hear. Or excuse me, Rachel, you just sing joy out of your eyes, and you're such a gift to other people. Or, Rachel, you're the best thing that's going to happen to somebody today. I am sending her love notes of belief and encouraging messages, sharing my vision with her. Like if you're at a director meeting, send her a little postcard or like a text even that says, there was an empty seat next to me today at our director gathering. I could totally see you there. Or I was dreaming today about you getting to take your family to Disney World. And after most interactions, me just sharing how much I see for her. Do you know how rare that is, that women get to hear that from someone else, like what you see in her and what her potential is, and how she's unique and how God's going to, could use her in someone else's life today. For those of you who maybe don't write out as many cards as you feel like you would like to, let me give you a little technique that I've just developed over the years. I have all these cards here on my desk. And if I want to write her, let's say I want to write her 4 times this month, like once a week, I'll actually grab 4 cards and I'll go ahead and address them and put a stamp on it and my return address label, and I'll put them on my desk. And so my goal by the end of the month is to get through the pile of cards to her. And so for me, that's like a little challenge, like, ooh, I've got my pile of cards. I can't wait to clear my desk. Okay. And that's one little thing that I've done over the years that have helped me to kind of make sure I'm also encouraging written letters. Okay. Now let me jump to setting up regular coaching calls. Okay. So that is my science of what I just do anyway without having anything formal going on. Okay. But there are times where you do need regular coaching calls. Like, let's say, you're going to finish a national area, or you're going to finish a Cadillac, or there's something in your unit specific that you want to make sure does not fall through the crack. Okay. So the first thing I would do is invite her into the coaching conversation. And the conversation again looks like calling her and saying, Rachel, I am so impressed with your vision for your business, and I want to make sure I'm supporting you in that vision. So what would be your thoughts around setting up a weekly coaching call every week in October? Okay. Or maybe, Rachel, I've decided to select just a handful of people in our unit to really focus on, who have big dreams and who I believe have the capacity to really make those dreams come true through Mary Kay. And so I selected you. So what do you think about that? What would you think about us setting up a weekly coaching call for the month of October? Okay, so invite her into the coaching conversation. I think that makes her feel special. The second point is to set up the parameters. This is so stinking important. I can't even tell you. Share with her, okay, I'm prepared to bring my very best, to the table during each conversation. So would it be okay with you to kind of outline the call so we make sure it's really effective? Now, notice my voice naturally got a little bit quieter, a little bit like, would it be okay if we kind of outline the calls, like the boundaries for the calls, just so we make sure it's really effective? Like, you can't say that like, let's outline the boundaries for the call. Like, you have to say it kind of like tender. Okay, would it be okay with you? We outline the boundaries for the call just so we make sure it's really effective. We'll set these up for the month of October, or we'll set these up for 6 weeks. Okay, so we'll start this time and we'll end this time. And you want to say that so you're not caught in this indefinite cycle of calls that you don't know how to awkwardly end it. And then the second thing is, I'll send you these coaching questions before each call, and they'll be the same pre-coaching questions. And if you would be so kind to text them, like fill them out and text them to me the night before, okay? Or at the very end, text them to me so I'll have them when I wake up, okay? And if I don't get those back from you, it's all good, but that just means we'll have to defer to the next week to connect. Now, what I really said in a positive way was, girl, if you don't get these coaching questions back to me, we're not having a call. But you never tell people what you can't do for them. You tell them what you can do for them. So basically, if we don't get these back, that's okay. We'll just set it up for the next week. Okay, so what are the questions? The pre-coaching, I'm trying to think what they are. I have them in my phone, but it's essentially, and I can send them out later, but it's, what opportunities do you have available to you this week? What challenges are you currently facing? And the third biggest one is, what would you like to focus on for this call? There's one more question too, or what am I most grateful for? So what am I most grateful for? What are the challenges I'm facing? What opportunities to have available to me this week? And what's the one thing I'm going to focus on before this call? And what happens is it helps to elevate their thinking before the conversation even begins. Okay. So that's incredibly, incredibly important. And then there's one more thing you want to share with them. Like, oh, there's one more thing. I will be in the fetal position during our call. I will be in the fetal position during our call. So I really want to listen. okay, to what you have to say. So if we could just agree that you could focus, okay, your attention only on the conversation also, that'd be amazing. Okay, so like no driving, make sure you're in a quiet place, like you're not at Target, like, we think we can focus when we're doing errands or whatever, but I've just found that we will get 10 times more out of the call and have more of a breakthrough if you're totally still and totally in a quiet place. So what do you think about that? Now, remember, see how I said that? I was like, I'll be in the fetal position because I am. Most of the time when I'm on a coaching call, I'm like this, like I'm on my bed and I've got the phone here and I'm in the fetal position. And I do that because I get so distracted by visual or anything else going around me. That's the best way I can really listen. There's nothing more annoying than getting on a coaching call with somebody and they're like doing their grocery shopping. And I'm like, and so if that happens, I would say, hey, are you out shopping or what's going on there? All right, girl. Well, listen, let me let you go. We can just resume next Monday. Okay. Cause I know you're in a public place and it's kind of loud or whatever, let's just resume next Monday. Okay. I can tell you're kind of distracted. So that's just, what you got to say. And basically if someone, after I've laid it out and they still don't honor that, I kind of know, she's not ready. Okay. But the biggest point I want to tell you is to make sure she knows on the front end that there's an ending point and that you send these pre-coaching questions to her. And her job is to get them back to you the night before or the morning of. Okay. All right. So that's the science part of it. That's the informal coaching, and then the formal setup. Okay. Now for the art, okay, there's definitely an art. Raising up offspring is sort of like raising children. That's what Linda Tupin would always say. They all need little different things from you, and that's okay. But you've got to be discerning on what her needs are. And so I do want to say that, there's, the basic needs and the love languages and DISC and strengths finders and all that. And right now I just want to focus on thinkers and feelers. Thinkers tend to be more D-ish and C-ish, and feelers tend to be more I-ish and S-ish. And here's what I want to share, because I've noticed this in 15 years of bringing up leaders. And it's important because I'm very much a feeler, and I had to really learn this about thinkers. Okay. Otherwise you can get a complex if you don't understand the other. Okay. So thinkers might lack awareness of the impact of their tone. And feelers are particularly sensitive to tone and particularly sensitive to conflict. Okay. And so if you're a feeler director and you have a thinker consultant, you might get sad or affected by the tone, especially if something's through text, of a thinker or DIQ. Anyway, I don't think I have time to go into stories, but anyway, I've just seen it happen. Thinkers make decisions pretty much based on logic, and feelers sometimes make decisions based totally on the relationships, not what on logical, but what is on relationships. What is good over what is objectively best for the team. So here's how I want to bring it home here is that if you're a director of thinker, okay, think about right now, who are you, a thinker or a feeler? Tend to be. Okay, so if you're a director thinker, who are you? Okay, and you have a DIQ or a ready right now or worker consultant who's a feeler, I want you to hear this. Okay, if you're a thinker director and you have a feeler consultant, okay, a thinker director can hurt a feeler's feelings, okay, because feelers tend to get easily wounded. Okay, you may lose her because she will not feel like she ever measures up, or she may feel like she's being judged. And what that feeler consultant needs from you, thinker director, is she needs warmth from you. She needs expression. She needs to be built up even more than you think she does. So you might be thinking, that was amazing. I am really proud of her. But if you don't say it, she's not going to know it. So anything positive that you're thinking, out with it, like make yourself say it. Okay. And you're like, that's enough. No. Like, like say positive things to her like 4 or 5 times more than you think she needs. That's about what she needs. Okay. So anyway, that's the main thing I want to say about that. Okay. But she can't read your mind and she doesn't know what you're thinking. You have to tell her. Now, if you're a director feeler, which that's me, if you're a director feeler and you've got a ready right now consultant thinker or DIQ thinker, she needs you, feeler director, to be way more direct, way more clear, concise, to the point, maybe a little less huggy, a little less fluff. Okay. You will lose her if she gets tired of having to sort through all the information and not knowing what to do. Okay. Particularly if she's a D thinker. Okay. She can take it. A D thinker can take it. Be straight up with her. She will appreciate that from you. If she is a C thinker, okay, she fears being criticized. Okay. But what she what she needs is and she's begging for a 1, 2, 3 next step. 1, 2, 3 next step. So if you're leaving a Voxer message for a C thinker, okay, and you're a feeler director to a high C thinker, DIQ, after you leave that Voxer message, what I would do, because you might be all over the place if you're a feeler, your thoughts are here, 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 then afterwards what I would recommend is you bullet point it. You type in a Voxer like number 1, da-da-da, number 2, da-da-da, number 3, da-da-da. Okay, what she needs you to leave her with is what is crystal clear. Okay, and sometimes if I have a C DIQ, I'll even like on Voxer, say it in my notes section. So I'm just talking it out because I process externally. So if you're an external processor, you're tracking with me now. I would talk it out on Voxer on my notes section, and then I'll even type out the bullet points, and then I'll just transfer the bullet points over to her and leave all the blah, 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 talky off because it's just too meandering. Okay. And so, for example, Leah Laughlin, my offspring NSD, who is my first line sales director. I recognized when Leah came into my life, holy cow, I'm like, you know, and I realized like she's so stinking methodical that it made me better. It made me more methodical. So I had to check myself and almost like bullet point out on paper even what I was going to say when I left her a message so that I was communicating more in the style that she needed. So I could lead her because I was aware that I'm a big feeler director and she was a thinker DIQ. Does that make sense? So it's important, but I could never have led a Leah Laughlin had I not been in tune to that. Okay. It's very, very, very important. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. So let me just review that. If you're a thinker director and you have a feeler consultant, make sure she doesn't feel judged by you, or that she feels like she doesn't measure up. She needs warmth from you. She needs facial expression. She needs hugs. She needs to be built up a little bit more than you ever think she could. She needs you to tell her how great you think she is. Okay. And if you are a director feeler and you got a thinker, she needs you to be way more direct, clear, concise, bullet pointed, boom. All right. So I hope that's helpful. All right. Okay. The next thing I want to say about this is, I don't believe it's not that our consultants don't know what to do. Many times they kind of know sort of what to do. It's that they lack belief and they need the confidence. So how do you build her confidence? Okay. Well, how do you build confidence? I know I build confidence through action, like actually doing something that I believe I can do, and actually feeling a win. Okay. Experiencing some type of success. So it's through action that seems reasonable and actually experiencing a win because of that action. When you feel like you're successful, what happens in your brain is it releases serotonin, and you want to do it again, and then you want to do it again, and you want to do it again. It's called the winner effect. So here's the thing I want you to take away. Boom. If you can keep her winning, you keep her. If you can keep her winning, you keep her. If you can keep her winning, you keep her. I don't care what the stinking win is. It does not need to be pie in the sky. It needs to be win the day, win the hour, win the day. It's so important. So you create a win for her, and that again, it feeds on itself. It's like a self-perpetuating cycle because she gets addicted to the feeling of the win. She really likes it. Okay, so we can't set our people up to fail. And here's how the conversation goes, and here's how you steer it. Okay, when you lead someone, have you ever come in contact with a consultant that says, I'm going to make 30 calls every day for a week, or I'm going to make 20 calls every day for a week? And while you want to believe her, you've seen it before where she says that and then she doesn't follow through, and then she feels like a loser, she feels like she failed, and then it's like that downward spiral. Okay, I rather someone say I'm going to make 5 calls today and actually make them than say I'm going to make 20 and actually make 5 and feel bad about it. Okay, so she goes, I'm going to make 20 calls. Okay, here's what you do as a sales director. You go, okay, great. That's fantastic. Let's break that down. Okay. Let's break that down into a doable goal and a stretch goal. Sound good? Okay. So what would be a totally doable daily phone call goal? Okay. Okay. Well, doable, I mean, I think I can make 5. I know I can, like, you can do that. I can make 5. Okay. And then what would a stretch goal be? Like if all the stars aligned and you were like in beast mode in the zone, what would that look like? Okay. Okay. Well, then I could make 20, could be a stretch goal. So she almost has like 2 sets of goals. Okay. The first one is the doable, like it's a baby goal. I know I can do it. And then I have my stretch goal where if that goes well, then I know I can keep going. Okay. So you almost set her up for 2 goals. So you set her up for success that she can achieve at least one of them. Okay. So, the goal is just to get her started. The goal is to get her started, making her feel like she can accomplish and help her to celebrate something every single day. Okay. And she's got to, we got to bring joy back in her business. Okay. So celebration builds confidence. Celebration builds confidence. Celebration builds confidence. Confidence releases serotonin and it makes you want to do it again and again and again. Remember, and that brings joy, and then we just keep going. So we got to help her find a win. All right, I've got 4 minutes. The last thing I want to say, well, 2 more things I want to say, is if she falls down, meaning if she's not going to make it, or it's not looking like it, or she didn't hit it, or whatever, like she's going for DIQ and it's the day before. The first thing I want to say is prevention is your friend. You do not just suddenly call her the day before the end of the month and go, okay, what's your plan? Okay, you break the month into thirds. Okay, so I'm connecting with potential DIQs or DIQs live probably much more than this, but at least around the 10th of the month and then the 20th of the month. See, the 20th of the month is 10 days before the end, and 10 days before the end is kind of where people decide, am I going to pretend I'm going for it but I'm not really, or am I really going to keep going? I mean, truly the 20th of the month is a magical day for you to God anointed intervene with a phone call to her if it's not looking very good. Okay, the 20th of the month, because if you wait till like the 27th or 28th of the month, you've already lost. You've already lost the game. It's over. I mean, maybe not, but 90% of the time it's over. It's the 20th of the month is where people make decisions. Okay, so that's important. They're checking in at least live on the 10th and at least live on the 20th. Like the 20th is your prevention call. Okay, if she doesn't make it, sometimes we don't call her because we're so afraid of the conversation. We're so afraid she's going to quit or she's going to, but that's actually the time she needs you more than ever, is if she falls down. The quicker you can call her, like boom, immediately, the better. Okay. And what else do I have time to do? Okay, I'll say one more thing. I've got more, but I'll say one more. I can save it for fall retreat. Is I want to talk about the word beyond. I learned this at coaching school, and I'm sure those of you who attended coaching school, you've heard this before. So this is for those maybe who weren't able to go to coaching school. But to always use the word beyond, that it's not just becoming a director, boom, or getting through DIQ, boom. It's like directorship is not a stop sign. Directorship is more like a green light to keep going. And so you're always saying, finishing DIQ and beyond, and becoming a sales director and beyond, because you're painting the mental picture that she's going to keep going. And so one of the things I would do for my DIQs is already be talking about, what on the move and Fab 50s look like. Like they all already know that when they're in DIQ. So they know that the goal is to keep going. Okay. So it's always about beyond, 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 because it's not like suddenly you become a sales director and everything in your life changes. I mean, you still have to do that same amount of work, to keep going, at least for that first year till you build that unit size way up, is really, really important. Okay, and the last thing I want to end on is just from the book Courageous Leadership by Bill Hybels. I have read that book. I mean, I don't have it on me. I was looking for it before the call and I realized I've gotten it out to read it. Now I don't know where I put it because I've read it so many times. But it's actually written for church like ministers and people who work physically inside of a church. But 90% of it is so applicable to what we do, because it's essentially about leading people courageously. And one of the quotes, my favorite quotes he says in that book, is he talks about Jesus, how Jesus spoke to people's potential much before they ever were actually those things. Like when he called Peter the rock, he was no more the rock, you know, than at that point in time, than anyone else. But because he spoke to him and said, you are the rock, this is how I see you, essentially, eventually Peter became that. And Stacey James would always say that women will rise to the potential, they'll rise to the level of how the most important female in their life sees for them or speaks out for them. And most of the time, many times, we are that woman in the people's lives that we lead, that we are speaking potential. We're speaking out what we see in someone else. We're saying it with our words, and they will rise to that occasion because we have value to them and they respect what we have to say. And so, don't discount how powerful your words are. There's something about leading people that takes what's inside of your heart and like pulls it out of you and like deposits it into another woman's soul. And I know that's what my senior director did for me. She spoke life into me that I didn't see in myself. And I don't know who I would be today or where I would be if it wasn't for my senior sales director, who was Barbara Johnson's daughter. Barbara Johnson was my senior national sales director, and she's the one that passed away a few years ago. But her daughter was my director. And she literally, I feel like she saved my life because of the words that she spoke into me, and she saw it for me when I didn't see it. And so don't ever forget that you're speaking into women's lives the way that you see them, regardless if they're actually are already that. That's part of the art of leading people. And I think that's part of what we're called to do as leaders in this company. So Heidi, I will stop talking. I am at my time limit. Boy, I'm really close to the camera. Hi, everybody. All right. I did not know how close I
was. We love you being close to the camera. We love you seeing your beautiful face, and you're pouring out your soul into us. You look gorgeous.
Oh my
Julia,
God.
I loved your thought process about the art and the science, velvet and steel, and how you broke that down. What really hit me when you talked in the science part of it is the reason that you had them text you the hard numbers and then the soft numbers. That was brilliant, because I would have people box me. And you're right, I get lost in the excuses, and I also get lost in the words, and I can't go back to it very quickly to serve them. Mm-hmm. So, and to compare my own notes. So I circled it in red. That's fantastic. Name her. I actually have gotten away from that working with my key people in my own unit about them telling me their name and then going from there. Of course, sharing the vision with them, and that little idea of having your pile of address stamped cards, so that is like a win, right? We need wins too. And when we make it a game and we win, we build our confidence. And then, of course, going through the formal coaching calls. And I just went to coaching school again last week, so this was a great reminder for me. And then the art. Oh my goodness. And I don't really think in this form very often, Julia, of thinkers versus feelers. And because there are so many ways to look at people, right? And so thank you for bringing that to conscious level, so that we can think who we are and who we are communicating with. And I love that, again, you know, the doable goal and the stretch goal. I think sometimes we're such big thinkers for people that then they fail, or they feel like they fail. And like you said, they don't get the win. And I made a little circle on my page: celebration, confidence, joy, again. Celebration, confidence, joy, again. For them to do that. And that you said, I thank you for just being so real about that. We're scared to talk to people. We're scared that they're going to quit, maybe if they haven't hit their goals, and how important it is, the conversation on the 20th of the month. I hope everybody has starred that on their calendars, or will when they get off this phone, how important that date is. And beyond. You know, becoming a director is not the be all end all. And when they get there, if they don't understand that, that can be a very hard transition. So thank you for reminding us of the beyond. And about that, our words do matter, our belief in people. And women will rise to the level of the most important, Can you say that again about Stacey James? I don't think I wrote that down correctly.
Yeah, it was women will rise to the level, let's see, of this is like a lot of prepositions. Women will, maybe I can type it out once I get it tight, but it's women will rise to the level of how the most important woman in their life sees them.
Okay. I have something kind of like that. So that's it's just a great reminder, because, you know, Julia, as you know, that we had people who did go into DIQ on October 1st, and we had people who didn't. And so sales directors, if you have not called those people yet, you know, make that a priority today, that you reach out to them and you still believe in them. You know, it's progress. That's what I learned too at coaching school, Julia. It's progress, not perfection. Progress. How far have they come? Let's celebrate how you grew in the last 30 days and now where you can go from here with us supporting them. So I just love your guts, my friend, and I'm so excited to have your heart and your brain and your humor, you guys. Julia's so fun. We're going to have so much fun at retreat. And I'm so blessed because I get to be with you next week at your retreat, and then you're with me. And then you get to go off to India to share Jesus. How fabulous is that? So, my friend, God bless your day. Thank you so much for your time. We love you, and I can't wait to see you in person.
Thank
Bye.
you. Likewise. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.